All right, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the show today. I have with me today Professor E. Jeffrey Hill from Brigham Young University's Department of School of Family Life, and more specifically, you teach family finance.
That's right.
All
We
right.
focus on not only the numbers, but also the relationships.
Awesome, awesome. I'm very excited to have you on with me today. And in the second part of our interview, which be sure to tune into that once this one's done, everyone, we're going to be talking a lot more in general. But to start things out, I have the usual two questions I ask everyone else that I'm going to start out asking E. Jeffrey Hill here. So what has been one of your worst personal finance mistakes that you have made?
I think my worst decision was when we were moving to Atlanta, Georgia with IBM. I worked for IBM for many years. And I set a goal to buy a house at a certain amount of time. And so we were out there, we'd seen a couple of houses that we liked, and one was by owner, and the other one the realtor, and we couldn't get back to the owner. And so because of that, a house that we later found out was way overpriced. That had guests bought it, didn't do the home inspection work. Most anybody had ever paid for a house in the neighborhood. He ended up losing a lot of money on it just from impatience. So the lesson I learned was when you buy a house, take your time.
Yeah.
Make sure you do all your work. Make sure you get a good inspection, and don't put any artificial time limits on. The interesting thing is that the people that were by owner house was a much better house for less money, and they came back. They were just on vacation. They came back the day after I bought the other one.
Oh, wow.
Also, still, I didn't get out of the other one. I should have.
Yeah.
To get the good house.
Wow. Wow. So that is definitely a lesson learned the hard way. That's a good one. Patience is a virtue for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So on the flip side of that, what would you say has been one of your smartest personal finance decisions?
This is really boring, but my smartest decision was as I was working for IBM about 35 years ago, a new thing came out. It was called an IRA.
Oh, wow.
And so we had an option that IBM would match a little bit of money. This was all new back then.
Yeah.
And we were on a really tight budget. And, taking 10% out to put in an IRA, that really hurt our budget.
I can imagine.
We really anguished over it.
Yeah.
But we decided to do it. And here I am 35 years later on a really nice nest egg, simply because it was invested and it was ready to go. I think my life is a lot better financially today because of that boring decision 30 plus years ago to invest in an IRA. And I've always maxed out on my IRA every year.
Yeah.
Then I learned about Roth IRAs when they came out, and it's been a good road, and I'm looking forward to retirement.
Wow. And so when you first made that decision, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have 12 children?
We do have 12 children. When I first made that decision, we only had 3.
Okay. So a little bit easier at that point, but still,
it really took a chunk out of our budget. We were really tight. We were very frugal. And a lot of the freedom that we have today is because of our frugality earlier in life.
Yeah, it's so often the case. That's a great example. I love it. Just the idea of making the boring decisions early on and stretching yourself and patience again with your house and stuff like that. I guess all of the somewhat boring, mundane things that leave you with the large nest egg, like you said, later on.
And I found I'm a strong proponent of the get rich slowly plan.
Yeah.
And which is kind of boring, but it's really nice to be sitting where we are now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Those are some great stories. Thank you so much for sharing them with me today.
You're welcome.
All right. And again, for our viewers, be sure to check out part 2 of this, where I'm going to talk a lot more with E. Jeffrey Hill here in regards to his more expertise opinion on family finance and some of the studies he's been a part of. So please stay tuned for this part 2.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.
All right.